Hey everybody, it's Saturday, September 17th. It's been a while since I did any videos. It's been over a week anyways. Decided to do a flea market finds video because I hadn't done one of these in a while. Hadn't been doing much else lately, so figured today they were having the local Boy Scout troop was having their end of the summer or fall yard sale, and they basically have a huge yard sale. They have a ton of donations that come in throughout the year, and they have one early in the year, typically on Memorial Day weekend, and then they usually try and squeeze in a second one at the end of the summer. A lot of the stuff that's donated is stuff that people had at yard sales and didn't sell, and they decide to donate to the club. So the way it works is the yard sale starts at 8 a.m. and there's a early bird period from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pay a $10 entry fee, you can get in early. And then at 9 a.m. they open it no charge to anybody. So typically I tend to get there around 7:30 and get in line. I was actually a little bit even earlier this morning and I still wasn't at the head of the line. But I ended up getting in early, and while I was standing there in line I spotted a couple of things. And the first thing that I spotted, so I could see across the parking lot, was this box right here on top of this thing, and I couldn't tell what they were. This almost looked like a router table from a distance, but I saw this box and I could tell that this was one of these metal boxes that has compartments for storing things in it, and I said, well, that's something I'd be interested in if it's cheap enough. They basically don't price most of the stuff there, and they just want you to make a donation to the club, to the Boy Scouts, and for the most part they just, whatever you want to offer is what they'll accept on a lot of items. But over the years a lot of people have taken advantage of that situation and paid like very little money for some really nice things. So now they've gotten a little bit better about making sure that they try and maximize their donation potential, so that if you offer something very low, they tend to give you a counter offer or something along that line. When I saw that this was a part of a modular system and I saw some other pieces there, my first thought was that I'll take all of it. And then they ended up finding some other boxes that had been mislaid and put in other sections, because they try and, this was in the tools section, and then they found this thing. Actually they found this when I went back later, because I lost my cell phone, which I'll get to that story in a minute, later on. Anyways, this was actually something that turned up after I had already left and gone back a second time. So initially I bought that box over there and some other cardboard boxes, and when I went to check out and pay for all my stuff, the guy actually who was running the tool section said that we should get that they wanted $75 for this whole system. And I said, wow. I said, that's, I said, I'll give you 50. And I wasn't even that crazy about paying 50 for it, because I'm still not sure what I ended up buying here. But unlike other yard sales or flea markets, all of this money is going to a good cause. It's going to the Boy Scouts, so it's pretty much like making a non-deductible donation to the Boy Scouts is essentially what I ended up doing here. If this ends up not being a great deal, no big deal. Let me show you real quick some of the other non-tool related items. I'm calling this tool related, but I did get some other things. I ended up getting this little fire pit. This is a pretty cheapo fire pit, nothing that special about it. But also there were some of these starter logs. There's 2.5 Duraflame starter logs in here. There's one big starter log here. Then there's some quick starting starter stick stuff, which I'm not sure. This appears to be just scrap wood that's saturated with something that must help them light. And then a couple of bags of wood, the kind that you usually see on the stacked up outside of your grocery store, which is all nice and dry, easy burning wood. And so that was all together as a whole lot. So I took the whole shebang, and well, I paid a total amount for everything, so I'm not quite sure what I paid for all these things individually. I kind of had an idea in my head, I do know that all of those modular things I was just showing, that ended up being 50 bucks, and then so everything else was 50 total. So I got that. This Trek bike, this is a Trek Mount Track 830. 20-inch women's Trek bike. There's a little tear in the seat here, but otherwise it's in really good shape. There's a little bit of oxidation from where it's been sitting somewhere where it got wet. But the tires hold air. It seems to be in really good shape. It's a woman's bike, so I got this from my wife. This is the only water ski they had there. This is a slalom water ski. So, of course, the immediate question my son asked was why there's only one. But this is the kind that you put one foot here and the other foot back here, and you got to have some real talent to ride that thing. So maybe at some point, if we ever get the Mercury Tower of Power motor all sorted out and on a boat, maybe we can actually see if we can't see if the kids want to try slalom. So the only other tool I bought was this is a rigid drain cleaner. Basically the way this works is you pull this trigger and crank the back here, and this auger feeds out and swirls around and goes right down the drain. I had a problem with our shower drain being clogged, and I couldn't get it out with anything, so I ended up having to go to the hardware store and buy one of these. But because I don't use them that often, I didn't want to spend the about 30 bucks that they charge for this one at the hardware store, so I bought just a cheapy one, which is basically it's just this part right here that's coiled up inside here that's loose, and you just hand feed it. It's got like a little metal piece on there to help feed it, but it's kind of a little bit more of a pain to use. This is a lot more convenient, but you pay for that convenience. Well, I saw it there at the thing, so I scooped it. Looks like it's in really good shape. I don't think it's been used very often at all. So I was happy to get that. This is a Rigid brand. So I went over to the electronics section, and all the electronics there are completely as is and untested. So stereos and VCRs, you're taking a big risk with any of those. But I did manage to grab, this is a Polk audio subwoofer, and I don't know whether or not it's any good or not. I'll have to test it. Unfortunately, we looked all around and didn't find the satellite speakers that match it. So I'm going to have to probably find another pair of satellite speakers. But if this ends up working, I might just touch up the scratches on this case, and I might actually use this in our living room, because I had been thinking about getting a pair of speakers for the living room. So that, I have no idea, like I said, what that's going to be worth or whatever. Then I spotted this. Yep, yet another original Xbox. I know the last one of these I played with, I said that I wasn't going to buy any more of these. But I wanted this whole stack of games because these are all regular Xbox games, but these two stacks right here, 2, 4, 6, about a dozen, are Xbox 360 games. So we're going to see whether or not those will work in my son's Xbox One, because I think some of these might be backwards compatible, and I don't even want to get into that whole argument. But so I got those and the Xbox. No power cable, no controllers. Looked through some other boxes there and found a couple of cell phone car chargers, and this is a Xbox 360 cable. So this will not fit this, but unfortunately there was no Xbox 360 to be found. Found this little case right here. So I was curious what was in this little case right here. It says Universal Enterprises Model M75. Opened it up, and there's a little analog meter in here. The old style multimeter. I can't get over how nice and crisp this selector switch is. It feels really nice and solid and snaps into place. This is made in Korea. I have no idea what these sold for new. It's definitely an older one. It's missing the leads. I have no idea if it works. Unfortunately, if somebody left the battery in there, it's probably going to have a bad battery compartment. But knowing I was going to get this for next to nothing, I just threw it in the pile because I just kind of like the look of it. Yeah, I'm going to need a screwdriver to open this up and see if there's a battery inside. And I got one other electronic item to show you. You can buy a replacement one of these meters brand new for like $8 or $10 now. But I just thought that was an interesting older one. A little bit of a retro meter. So the one other item I bought there in the electronics department, I have no idea whether it works or not, is this big old portable radio. It's a realistic. And this is a multi-band. This is called the Patrolman 9 by Realistic, which was sold by Radio Shack. And this is a radio that has your AM and FM broadcast bands, but it also has 2 shortwave bands, a marine band, public service radio bands 1, 2, and 3, which are previously were used as VHF, I believe, for police, fire, and all that, and aircraft. And these can be just fun when they work. They can be fun to play around with and listen to different things. And I don't know, I've got 2 or 3 of these now, so I just kind of have a soft spot for these particular type of radios. This guy's got the name and address, Daytona Beach. Wow. Anyways, he cared enough to scratch his name into the back of this one. Alright, my son wanted me to test this out right away. What'd you say, Peter?
What?
I don't know. I thought you said
What did you think I said?
I don't know, something. Well, power's on. Volume control's a little scratchy, but that's an easy fix. That's just a matter of opening this up and getting to the control. Well, it's a relatively easy fix. It depends how easy it is to get to the potentiometer that's behind here. If you can get to the back of the potentiometer easy enough, you give it a little squirt of control cleaner from a can, and that'll quiet right down. The FM band.
Without causing damage. The next generation of laminate flooring is Pergo Outlast Plus, starting at just $279 a square foot, exclusively from Home Depot. More saving, more doing.
This looks like it was dropped and cracked right here.
Right.
They was raised according to Scripture, and you have learned that God has gone to save you. God will cover you.
Today, the fishes of the sea also shall be taken away.
At home, we just felt an earthquake right here in the studio. Lights were shaking, desk was shaking, building was shaking. Bringing meteorologist Joe Laurie. Joe, what just happened?
Yeah, we're trying to figure it out. I do know it was felt as far south as Oklahoma because I'm seeing some tweets from there. But I've gone through some earthquakes back east when I was growing up. And never felt anything. And this entire city is concrete, and that was pretty good.
I don't know what that station was. They're talking about feeling an earthquake in Oklahoma. Huh, that's weird. Oh well, whatever. Okay, so the only name I can find on this modular, whatever this modular storage system is Applied Maintenance Supplies and Solutions. So I'm not quite sure. I think I tried Applied Solutions, and when I Google that, I get a whole bunch of stuff about networks and I don't know, stuff that I don't even have the slightest idea about. So maybe I'll have to try that particular name. But for the time being, I'm going to start opening up these boxes and seeing exactly what I've got here. This is just like some kind of a cubbyhole storage thing. This actually is marked right on top. Durham Manufacturing, established 1922. So there we go. Now I can maybe get a better idea who makes this thing. There's a sticker right there. Durham Manufacturing, established 1922. So I'm beginning to get the sneaking suspicion that I have a bunch of parts to some sort of a system, but not necessarily any kind of a complete usable system here. So let's see, in here, ooh, that's a nice box. That's a nice storage box there. Okay, that goes on. Here's another one.
I put on the same one over there.
You could use a little cleaning.
Why don't you grab that one and put it on here?
It's still in the rack.
Oh, this one's been built.
This is something. All right, well, this piece right here, see, it's got an open lip in the front, and judging from these recessed areas here, I think that the casters that I think are in this box must attach to this. So that's interesting. Oh, wait a minute, here's another set of casters, by the looks of it. Bunch of hardware. I'm betting originally one of these boxes had assembly instructions shipped inside of. Oh, here's another one. Yeah, that doesn't bode well. Yeah, here's another one. So what I've got is I've got 3 bases for whatever this system is, with 3 sets of casters by the looks of it, but no, nothing else. This has got something that's supposed to stack onto it or attach to it or something. And these bases are too narrow for these other cabinets. That's the last one?
Yep, last one.
Yeah. One more of these.
One more?
Yeah.
And some tools inside.
Oh, actually these are dividers for something.
Let me see. How are they dividers?
Well, so this is a whole lot of junk. Well, so I think I'll probably, I guess for starters, I'll, these are some nice casters. Look at that. Ball bearing. Made in China. Gotta be good. These clearly go on here like this. So I'll have 3 roll around dollies, if nothing else, with some decent casters on them. Not that I need them. Oh well. Good thing that money went to a good cause. Alright, I have my team of trusty mechanics, junior mechanics here, hard at work assembling these things. And I was able to go to the company's website and get an idea of what exactly it is that I have here. So this company apparently is an industrial supply company that supports industry, and part of what they supply is, in addition to all types of janitorial supplies, fasteners and things like that, is they supply these modular storage systems for storage of small parts and fasteners on site, making it's supposed to be all streamlined to make inventory control very very tight, so that you have an idea of when you're out of something, when to order it, and that kind of thing. But what I don't have is I don't have any complete systems. What I have is I have some basic parts. So for instance, I have some of these nice drawer multi-compartment organizers, but those are supposed to sit on slide out trays in a cabinet, in cabinets that I don't have. This is a base for one of those slide out cabinets. So if I had a slide out cabinet to sit on that base, and then I put the drawers that I do have in it, then I would have at least part of a system. Then apparently, alternatively, you could order this base with casters to make it a roll around unit. Well, I have 3 of these bases with casters, and no units to sit on top of it. And then I have that unit over there, which doesn't appear related to any of these other pieces at all. And I also have this unit over here. And this unit over here has what appears to be almost like some adjustable shelves, but I'm not quite sure how this actually even goes together, because there are screw holes there are screw holes on the end here, so I haven't quite figured out what the heck is going on over here with this thing yet. And there are slots here that almost look like these could go in there, but it doesn't quite match up. So I got several of these partitions here that don't seem to fit here. And actually, I think this looks almost like one of the cabinets that I saw online, that it's actually supposed to sit on its side, and it's supposed to be a what they call a hose cabinet. The storage of, I think, reels of hose maybe, or something like that. I don't know. All right, now that I have some of these put together, getting a better idea of what I've got here. So I've got 3 of these base units that cabinets are supposed to sit on, and I don't have any cabinets that will fit these. And then I also have a base unit for a cabinet to sit on that's not a roll-around one. And I think the same type of cabinet probably sat on here as here. So I think you had the option of either putting them on a stand like this or on a roll-away stand like this. The types of cabinets that went, oops, take 2. The types of cabinets that went on those bases, I believe, had slide out trays that these trays would go in. Judging from the scratches all over the tops of these are used. These do not have the ability to be partitioned any further than this. These look like they'd be great for drill bits or long bolts. This one has the ability to be partitioned to much smaller sections if I had the plastic inserts that went in here, which I don't. Another one like that. And then I believe this one, the cardboard box described this one as what they call the double deep unit. Okay, that's partitioned this way. And that, I believe I just solved the mystery of what this is. Okay, I was wondering what the heck this was, and now I see that this is a partition for one of these. Okay, so that kind of, at least I know what that goes now. And these are made so that they have all of these slots here, so they could be further partitioned with these slide-in metal pieces. So you really have a lot of versatility with this kind of a box system. It's interesting. Oh, well, that's interesting also. This one does not lock like the other ones. This is also damaged. Here on the corner it's bent. I noticed that some of these other pieces are bent. Nothing major, I mean, could all be banged out pretty easily. And then I have just one of these units. This appears to be something that either is supposed to be stacked on top of something else, or I don't see holes in the back to screw it to a wall. But these actually have a little ramp front right here. So these almost look like they're made to be able to reach in and pull stuff out of, maybe. I don't know. So it's just like a little cubby hole unit. This actually, I don't know if this one's the one that has a part number on it or not. No, this one's not marked in any way. So that's going to be a mystery for me to figure out what that one is. And then last but not least, I have this big cabinet here, which is marked on the side with a sticker H658. So I might be able to look that up in the catalog. But again, I think this one, I think I saw a cabinet that looked like this that was described as a hose cabinet. And I think this is supposed to actually be on its side like this. And then I've got several of these partitions that were laying inside here, so I think they belong to this. But the funny thing is, with it all put together like this, it's pretty hard to put these in. So I think these are supposed to be installed before you before maybe you screw on this top piece right here. Alright, so here's a quick video just to close out this this episode of Flea Market Finds regarding the yard sale. I talked about my phone mishap. So what happened was, when I was loading all the stuff into the truck, I put my phone down more than likely on the roof of the truck as I was loading stuff into the back seat area, and forgot my phone up there and drove away. I was in a hurry to get home because my wife needed to take our kitty cat to the vet, so I needed to get home in time for that because I needed to watch the kids. And drove away, got home, realized I didn't have my phone. She went off to the vet. I grabbed up all the kids. We went back to the yard sale and nope, no phone. Then I started to think I did leave it on top of the truck, and so I retraced my route and didn't find it. So I went to the local police station, and our police department is, you know, very friendly here. We're in a small town, and we pretty much, you know, people tend to know each other. So I walked in, and the officer behind the desk recognized me, and I explained the situation. He said, So he brought me in the back and he showed me he had been out on patrol and had seen the phone on the road, or pieces of it, and picked it up thinking that somebody might come along wanting to claim it, and explained to me that this is the condition he found it in. All I had left of the battery was the label, because he said the battery looked like it had exploded. So he didn't pick that up because there were chemicals leaking out of it. And anyways, long story short, my phone is completely destroyed. I've ordered a new phone, and unfortunately, those of you who know phone technology will notice that this phone, which is a Galaxy Samsung S3, which I've liked this phone. It's getting a little older as far as technology goes, but I never really had any complaints about the phone. But right here on most Samsung S3s is the SIM card slot. This slot right here is just for the optional memory card, the micro SD card. So there's no SIM card slot, because, you know, the initial thought of the officer was, hey, at least you've got, you know, you can take the SIM card out and pop it into a new phone, have all my contacts and everything hopefully saved on there, but you can't do it. I was puzzled when I opened it up. I said, well, where's the card? You know, so went online and found out, lo and behold, when I bought this phone on Boost Mobile, which uses the Sprint network, Sprint had these phones apparently specially made for them at that time, without a removable SIM card. So it's embedded in the chip in the phone. I tried plugging the phone in to a charger, and it just does some weird things. The charge light comes on, the red light comes on to indicate charge, but it does the little quick vibrate as if it's booting up, but it just keeps cycling through that over and over. The screen doesn't light at all, which I'm not surprised. That's completely destroyed. But I thought at least if it would power on, then maybe they could hook a USB cable up and get my data off this phone and transfer it to the new phone. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to go and get my new phone when I get it activated. I'm going to bring this with me just for giggles and see if they can't get anything off of here. We'll see how good the techs are at, see how good the Geek Squad is over there at Best Buy. That's where I bought the phone, so I'm going to bring it back to them. See if they can't transfer whatever's left on this phone. I also took the micro SD card out and put it in my card reader, and I've done that in the past to take photos off of my phone and put them on my desktop PC, and that card won't even read now, so I don't know whether or not that card was also destroyed in this catastrophic event. Oddly enough, the OtterBox case actually survived fairly well. You can see I've got a lot of mileage, and this case has been great. I can't say enough good things about. Well, with the one exception, when I bought the case, it came with a clip-on holster that has a clip on it, so you can clip it on your belt, and that broke immediately. And it wasn't like I abused it or anything. It was just poorly made, broke right away. You know, what can I say? I want to give this thing 5 stars, except for that. But, you know, I called OtterBox. They have, well, depending on how you look at it, you could say they have a great warranty because they were willing to replace it with a brand new one. However, the hoops they make you jump through to get a replacement part, in my experience, were kind of severe and just not worth the trouble. So I never ended up bothering to replace that. They basically wanted me to go through a whole process of taking a bunch of photographs and emailing it to them, and you know, I just didn't want to deal with that, so I never bothered. All right, so here's that holster, And the way this works is, I forgot what was broken on it. It's not the actual clip itself. That's actually pretty sturdy. Okay, but the holster itself has a piece of plastic right here that's broken off. That broke off way too easily. And what that plastic does is it allows you to snap in and snap out the rubberized OtterBox case into this holster. Okay, which, you know, in warm weather, this is kind of a handy thing to have. You know, when you got a coat on or whatever, it's kind of useless. But in the summertime and everything, it's nice to have this on your belt. But it's got a obvious problem here. That's not as beefy as it should be. I guess it's kind of a catch-22. They beefed that up too much. It gets too hard to snap the case in and out. They kept it kind of weak, and the plastic wasn't pliable enough. I don't even think this was cold when this broke, so I was kind of disappointed there. And, you know, OtterBox said that they would replace it, but I don't remember exactly what they wanted me to do, but I think it involved, like, photographing this and photographing my receipt, and I don't know. Maybe they've changed their policy on replacing these now. But I just didn't want to go through that trouble, so I never bothered. But I guess that's going to end this episode of this flea market find. Pretty much the cabinets were a bust. But again, the money went to a good cause, the Boys and Girl Scouts of America local troop.